Hi guys, in this video I'm going to be showing you what I made in another Facebook Live, so it's just a bit of a shortened version. This time we are making ladybirds, or ladybugs depending on which of the two you guys call them, and we're going to be starting with half a polystyrene ball for inside this one. Now guys, if you want to watch the full version, you can find it over on my Facebook page still as well. So I'm using the Saracino modelling paste for this one, and I'm going to take a ball of the black paste, so I'm using it pre-coloured. And we're just going to shape the face. So it's not quite rounded, it's a little bit pointy, slightly at kind of the nose area. Although I don't give them a nose, but hopefully that makes sense. It's quite wide, and then at either side I'm just going to press in with my fingers lightly to mark where I want the eyes to go. And then I'm going to roll over with a balling tool just to deepen those eye sockets a little bit more. I'm going to push two little holes in the top of the head. Don't make them too wide. These are where its little antennas are going to go later, if that's what they're called. Now while the head's firming, I'm going to make some little legs. So we're going to roll a longish piece of paste, fairly thin, and then we're going to bend it sort of twice, once sort of at the ankle, once at the knee, and you're going to want to do that 6 times. If this top area is quite long, don't worry, that's fine, we can cut some off later. Now I'm just adding a bit of Tylose to this tiny piece of paste here because I want this next bit to be really set firm. And modelling paste is going to be a little bit better than using fondant for this, guys. Certainly for the little antennas, but you know, you can use whichever you choose. If you're using fondant already to roll ice in, you will need to add Tylose though. So these little antennas are two sort of thin teardrops / carrot shapes, and we're just going to roll them over at the end. I've made a couple of spare ones, so I've got some larger and smaller ones, and we'll see which ones fit best. So for the eyes, I'm going to take 2 balls of white modelling paste. Again, I'm just using the Saracino paste for this one. I'm going to make them slightly teardropped. You can keep them round if you prefer them to be round rather than teardrop shaped though. And I'm just going to push them into those eye sockets that I made earlier. Do the same on the other side. So for the pupils, I've rolled 2 small balls of the black paste and I've just squashed them down with my finger to flatten them. Now of course, if you've got small circle cutters, you can just roll the black with a rolling pin and use your small circle cutters instead. I just don't have them here with me at the moment. I think I've left them at home, so we'll do it this way instead, and it works fine. So I'm just sticking them in place with a tiny bit of water. And then let's add some highlights to the eyes. So we're just going to do the same thing as what we've just done with the pupils, but on a smaller scale with some white. And I'm going to push this into each eye, hopefully trying to get in about the same place in each eye. And then we'll go for a smaller dot as well. Now, you don't have to stick them on. You can paint them on with white food colouring or edible white food dusts that are mixed with clear alcohol or rejuvenated spirit. You can even use the white fractal edible pens as well that you can get. So I'm just going to cut a little bit more off that polystyrene ball that I had earlier. Now, I'm not going to be eating this one, so I'm putting polystyrene in the middle just to bulk it out and save on paste. However, if you were going to be eating it, you could make something like Rice Krispie treats to put inside your ladybird so that it's fully edible. But mine is just going to be staying on display at my place of work, so that's why I'm not too worried about it being polystyrene. It keeps a long time for display if I've got polystyrene in it. So I've just got a little band of black that we're going to put over that sort of straight edge there. And then the head is going to kind of insert into that. Now you can just stick it on with some edible glue or water. If you find that it's not sticking very well, you can put a wooden skewer inside the head to just hold it into the body. Because this one's not going to be eaten, it's not going to be a problem. If it was going to be eaten, you would have to tell somebody that the wooden stick is in there, or like I say, you could do it without the stick. It just needs a bit longer to set for the head to set onto the body. But because I was doing this in a Facebook Live, I didn't have time, so the stick was the quicker option. So for the body, I'm taking some red modelling paste. Now on this one, I actually have swapped to the Rencho's flower modelling paste for this one, just because it was there in the right colour for me. So we're going to roll it out, not super thin. And I've put some water on the back, or you can use edible glue. You might find if you put a little bit too much on, it slides off the polystyrene though. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave it to one side, let it get a bit stickier before we put it back on in place. So while we wait, let's make some little pieces of white. They're fairly flat. They don't have to be like a circle though. And these are going to be the kind of the patterning on our ladybird. In fact, let's just use one and cut it in half actually, guys. So it's just going to go there, kind of behind the eye area. And we'll do the same on the other side. And then we're going to take a tiny ball of white, and that's just going to go above each eye as well. Let's see if this will stick any better for us now. So you might have to just kind of keep nudging it on, pressing it nice and firmly to stop it sliding off that polystyrene ball. Obviously, if you're not using a polystyrene ball, you could make it solid especially if you were going for a smaller ladybird than what I have done. It could be made in solid paste. You don't have to put something inside like this. So I'm just going to cut it all the way around the edge now. Just try and even it off about level with your polystyrene. And then I'm going to put a line down the middle. I'm just using the back of the knife for this rather than the blade, because the blade will just cut it in half and then it'll end up sliding back off again. And now what I'm going to do this time is take a piece of black and we're going to squish it so it becomes like the shape of the overall underside of our ladybird, and that's going to lift it off the surface a little bit so that we can get the legs on easily, and also it's going to cover up that polystyrene underneath. So the bigger this piece is, the more it's going to stand up away from the work surface, so the taller your ladybird's going to be. Just watch out for the red bits slipping back off. Just pressing in a little bit under its face there. Like I say guys, if you want to see it in real time, I do have a Facebook video. So it was done as a Facebook Live, and you can watch that still over on my Zoe's Fancy Cakes Facebook page. You can just hear me talk about it in more detail. So we're going to give this one some spots. This one's just getting 2 spots. I know the other one I gave a few spots too. And then let's stick in its little antennas. Now just make sure your little antennas are fairly set before you put them in, otherwise they will want to just flop over if they've not started to harden at that point. The smaller you make them, the easier they are going to stay on. The larger you make them, the more they are going to want to sort of bend and flop over. So let's add those legs now. So I've put some water underneath the body and I'm just pushing these on in place. 3 on each side. Now you can leave it as it is if you want, or you can give it a nice shine by covering it in some edible glaze. So I'm just painting this on. Now guys, if you are going to use edible glaze though, please make sure you have got glaze cleaner to hand, because this glaze is horrible stuff to wash off things. So if you've got glaze cleaner to hand, it's going to make it easier for you to wash your brushes, and if you spill it anywhere on the work surface, you'll be able to clear that up too. Now the good thing about this little design is, obviously we've made ladybirds, but you could make a range of different beetles with this one. So I've tried this one with some black paste. I haven't given it a head yet. I was just seeing what kind of the shells would look like, a beetle shell if we did it differently. And then that's the pearlescent Superl Shine one, I think it's called. I've got another video on making a larger beetle with this effect actually guys. So what I'll do is I'll put a link up in the corner to that one and you can see that as well. And I'm just going to quickly, just before we finish the video, I think I'm going to give this ladybird some eyelashes. So I've just rolled a nice thin piece of black modelling paste. We're going to try and stick it around the edge of the eye and just flick it up a little bit on the outside edge there. And then just repeat the same on the other eye. And of course I haven't finished this beetle just yet. I didn't get a chance to finish it in the live, but it's just so you guys could see. I think the one with like the Superl Shine, it shows better in person than on here. But once that's got some glaze in, I think that one will look really nice as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video guys. It was part of my insect series that I'm currently doing as Facebook Lives over on my Facebook page. Don't forget to check my Facebook page for the full versions, or if you actually want to watch me doing it live as well. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye. If you liked the video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and leave me a comment below. You can see more of my tutorials by clicking on the images on screen now. If you haven't already, make sure you click the subscribe button to stay up to date with my future tutorials. There are also links in the description box below where you can find me on Facebook, Instagram and more.